What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Collecting and Hobbies. And today we're going to do a review over red and gold. Both red and gold Rangers. Mainly because I've had these since like April? Something like that. And I got these back in July. And I still haven't done a figure review over each one. I did do a video saying that these were out, the Wave 2s, but I'm actually going up to get the other ones today. Hopefully. I found them, and I called a place that might have them, and they said they do, but you never know. Those employees don't know what they're talking about half the time, unfortunately. Hate to say that, but that's just the way it is. So let's go ahead and get into these reviews. Now, I showed you that little image there, the Power Rangers. A little background. I think I said this before. I'm pretty sure in one of my videos somewhere, somehow, I had a Power Ranger in it. In one of my haul videos or something. I don't know if I ever uploaded it, but I'm pretty sure I did. And I know I had the Red Ranger in there and the blue one. Lord Zed, I actually picked him up at one time and I gave it to a friend. I found another one and I gave that to a friend because he seemed to be really easy to find at the beginning, and I didn't have a problem with giving him to my friends, but now I can't find him anymore. So I have to order that online or something. But anyway, what I was getting to is in the 1990s, I was barely old enough to really even know what Power Rangers were, or I was babysitting, I think. Babysitting kids that watched Power Rangers. And that was pretty much the only experience that I had when these came out, because they look so good, which is something that really, really says a lot. Just like the Star Wars figures from Kenner in the late 70s and 80s. When you see the figures, they look so good, you want to find out more about what this stuff is about, the Power Rangers. So, I had Netflix, I had Hulu. I watched like the Lost pilot episode. I watched the movies because they were on Netflix. The movies are a little bit different. They're more, I thought they would be better because they have probably a bigger budget. And what you guys might not know, if you're huge Power Ranger fans, you probably know this. If you're just action figure fans, you probably don't know this. But all that stuff, like all those images, the original Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, that's not either one of these guys, but like the original Power Rangers, they just had the regular Power Ranger outfits. Basically, at least that entire first season was just Japanese guys in costumes fighting other Japanese guys in costumes, and it was originally part of some Japanese show, and they kind of converted it, Americanized it with hiring American teenagers that spoke English, and when they weren't in costume, that's the only time, technically, for the most part, that the Americans were even actually in the episode. So everything you saw, the actual fighting, at least in the first season or so, was actually Japanese. So, okay, so I've wasted enough time doing that. Let's go ahead and crack into what everybody is really wanting to see, and that is the Gold Ranger. But before I crack into him, I will tell you that I did enough research to know that this gun on the red is supposed to have eyes, is supposed to have a lot of tiger stripes, some silver paint. This gun, at least the first time he uses it, it looks like it's supposed to be red, not orange. in that particular spot. And of course, the only gripe that I even have with this figure is the line work should probably be just a little bit better. You know, separation, and the helmet might not actually be shaped as well as it actually is in the TV show. I got a lot of glare there from the window. I'll take care of that in a second. As far as the likeness goes, this, you know, looks pretty much like him. And another thing with him, he has some kind of like dinosaur hand thing that he uses probably a whole lot. And he doesn't come with that, which is another gripe a lot of people had, that they should have used that instead of a sword, because he doesn't use swords much. Don't know nothing about it, but like I said, these figures are so good aesthetically looking that they're worth picking up, in my opinion. And this guy is actually pretty young. He'll probably look, you'll be able to see his head sculpt better when I take it out. But another thing, he wears glasses. So, at least he did in the first episode. So, I don't know why he doesn't have glasses. But that's another thing that you might notice straight out the gate. And as always, this review is brought to you by the Power Rangers' favorite drink, Coca-Cola. Okay, that was just a joke, but I actually heard somewhere, I don't know where, I don't know, like I said, don't keep up with this stuff a whole lot, that Kimberly, the girl from Flashpoint, Amy Jo Johnson, Kimberly, her favorite drink is Coca-Cola, and while she was on set, she like always had a can in her hand. So, and that's the one of the ones I should be picking up today is the Pink Ranger, which is the short pack, just like Lord Zed, only packed one per case. So here's all the accessories for this guy. I already have one open, the one that I showed you in the box. You know, as always, if you've watched my channel before, I'm a Minton card collector too. So, and here's his hands. That's extra hands, I should say. So this one comes with 6 extra accessories. The gold one also does. He also comes with an extra pair of hands, a head, a sword, a gun, and an effect. Basically, same as this guy. The White Ranger only comes with 5 accessories, but we're not going to do the White Ranger today. We'll review him when I do another Ranger. Okay, so I wanted to go ahead and do this guy first simply because I've already messed around with him a lot. And that's not something, if you've seen my channel before, I normally don't do that. A lot of times I pull them straight out of the package, and literally everything you see me do is the very first time I've ever done it. Now this guy, I posed him around quite a bit. This guy, he's got a lot of articulation, a lot of good articulation. Get really high kicks. He can go up, he can go out, he can do a lot. He's even got boot cut articulation. He's got, of course, articulation at the foot, and go really far back, and of course all the way around for ankle rocker. Got double jointed knees, kicks his own booty, just like a certain other reviewer I know says. He's got a big time ab crunch here. Look at that. He can really go back. He can do the limbo. And he can go forward. He could, well, I mean, let's see here. I make him kiss his own feet. Yeah, pretty much. Kind of put, no. Well, there we go. He could touch his toe to his head. How many figures do you know can do that? And he's got double jointed knees. I mean, double jointed elbows, my bad. But, let's see. Okay, now, I know I could get these to go more. But you have to, or maybe not. Thought you could. He could do the sound wave pose. You know, or sound wave, the transformer, touch his own shoulder and make that set pop out of his chest. He can look up decent amount, Look down, pretty much all the way. Not much is like tilt, but of course he can move his head 360, and yeah, he's got plenty of motion in his wrists. Go all the way around, up and down like Spider-Man. This guy's got a lot of articulation, and he goes in and out real well. Now, one thing about the articulation, you have to put this guy under some hot water. Be very careful. Let's see, what's the best way to do this? I haven't done it in a while, and it looks like I might need to do it again. Now, these are butterfly joints, obviously, like in the Marvel Legends Spider-Man figures. They put a lot of butterfly joints in there. But now, to get his arm to go up to like a full T, you know, there's that joint there. To get him to do that, it's best just to pull it back and just twist it, I guess. It is very, very stiff, and a lot of people have had these biceps kind of snap off, and because it is so stiff, it's kind of like on a ratchet type of joint, it seems like, because it is very, very, very hard to do, and it's yeah, I mean, I can't even get his right arm to go all the way up at the moment. Or maybe it is all the way up. Maybe that's as far as it goes. Oh, there we go. Like I said, you gotta pull it this way. It's a lot easier. But then you gotta twist it. And then you twist the bicep. I know it's kind of hard to see, but see, now he's at a full T. Because I had to twist everything around. So when you first get your figure, it's going to be very difficult to do that. And don't freak out too much, but yeah, it's very, very difficult to get it to a full T. So if you can see that real good. That's the paintwork on his gun right there. There should be a lot of silver, a lot of black, a lot of stripes. I think those are eyes, but on the front, and you're not getting a whole lot of that on this, especially on this side. It's not even painted. Only one side is painted, and very little. But look at the way that the costume looks. You see that dinosaur head thing he had on his right fist? That's another thing that people were complaining that he didn't come with. So I did some research on this. But anyway, so the only other thing, some people are saying, you know, obviously they use different kinds of plastic here than they do down here. There's a very slight difference between the coloring. These are extremely, incredibly tight to even move around, and maybe these could be a little bit brighter and shinier. That would be my only gripes with this, because going into it though, without knowing any of that stuff, I think this figure is absolutely awesome. I think it's great. I had to look at a couple of these to get like a perfect one. It's just like with everything else, really. You just, you know, look at the paint jobs, pick and choose if you got the chance. The first Gold Ranger I found, his box was like smashed and stuff like that, but his eyes looked terrible, so I had to wait till I found the second one, which luckily was the very next store that I went to. Okay, so let's put, I showed you the articulation. I'm just going to show you how he holds his stuff real quick, and then we'll move on to, I guess, the main event, the Gold Ranger. Not even sure he's supposed to hold this gun in this hand. I'm thinking he is. I thought that was a trigger finger. Maybe it's not. Okay, that's kind of hard to get his gun in his hand. It's actually easier to get it in this one. But he doesn't have much far trigger fingers go. He holds his gun in both hands, but as you can see, since I've never actually done this before, I've never messed with any of these accessories. And I've also heard that once you take these hands off, that they can be very loose, so I'm not going to do that. He does come with an extra karate chopping hand, and it goes in and out like a slap. You can slap people with it. And then a punch, and it does the same motion in and out. I'm sure he could hold a sword very well, I would imagine, because it looks like the hands are more made for the sword, which from what I've heard, he doesn't hold the sword a whole lot. And so a lot of people are confused about why the sword hand is so, why they do that, I guess. As far as the sword effects, here we go. Not really sure which direction it goes. I mean, you could do it any way you want, really, but on your figure, so there we go. Got a lightning effect. I don't think this is reused in Marvel Legends. I don't remember this from any Marvel Legend figure. I think this is all new. Let's see here. I'm trying to do this relatively quickly because I know you guys want to see the Gold Ranger. There we go. Maybe. Well, the effect really doesn't seem to be working out too well here. Let's see if I can try it without the actual figure. I kind of wish that it came packaged with the effect on it, so you know which way it's supposed to go, or the best. Oh, there we go. So you kind of got to find these loops. There's a loop there, loop there, loop there. And there we go. And pull it down. That looks good. So I guess that's how you do it. And see how well it fits in his other hand. Yeah, I think his other hand is made for this. He has a loose grip on it, though. I mean, you're going to have to stretch these fingers out. You might have to put these under hot water and kind of move them around a little bit. So I'm going to say, as far as this release goes, I am going to, let's see, is there, no, these can't hold anything. It's a fist and a karate chop. I think they could have executed this better, really. I mean, I know they could have, but I don't know why it's so hard to get these accessories in his hand. The figure itself is like about a 9.5 out of 10. Now, if you switch out the heads, again, when you switch things, when you pull parts off and put them on, it loosens a little bit, but the way it'll sit is a little different. It's going to look like he has a little bit of a longer neck. I really don't want to change the heads because I probably never use this head. Well, I don't know if I had two of them loose, maybe, but I like the mast head. But the funny thing is, the reason that I get these is because I have this, because you have options. Options are always a good thing. Okay, so I pulled his head off, Let's see here. See what it looks like. Because I definitely want to do this with Tommy, maybe Tommy and Kimberly. So it's not too bad, but it does look a little, maybe. You don't have any motion. Oh, man. Yeah. I mean, oh, wow. This thing is so tight. There we go. Well, I could get his head to move this way. There we go. It's a very, very, very tight fit. I thought it would be scratching all the paint off if I even moved it to the right. I had a Chromia figure from Transformers. You put her head back into this little slot, the transformer. When you pull it back out, all the paint on top of her head comes off, all the white. So be careful if you don't want to scratch it up. You might want to get two of these if you want to have them in both modes, both civilian and masked, unmasked, whatever, morphed, unmorphed, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, so I'm not liking the way these weapons fit. Okay, I kind of take it back. There, I got it. It's just harder to do on camera because I'm holding everything in a certain angle, and it's just harder to do on camera. But as you can see, I got the trigger finger in the trigger. Let's see about the sword. I guess, let's see. See, the sword has a little thing sticking out on this side, so maybe he's supposed to hold it a certain direction. Like this. Oh, yeah, see? That makes sense. So this one looks to be made for the sword, I guess. It's still not a perfectly tight fit, not as tight as I would want it to be, but it looks like maybe that's what they did. All right, so let's move on to the Gold Ranger. That comes in it. I don't really know what it is, but multiple language, made in China, and choking hazards. Literally, there's like a whole bunch of them. It's in the very bottom where I opened it at. Right there where the bubble is. Alright. So here we go. Here's his effects piece. Looks similar to the White Ranger one, but not quite because it's more of a thicker, rounder, like a basketball shape. Alright. This is about his sword here. I've never seen him use his sword. I watched like 8 minutes or 4 minutes or something of where he becomes a ranger. I don't know if I could show that without getting a copyright strike. Well, I'm sure you could show it. It's only a couple of minutes. Not like I'm showing the whole episode. Ugh. So he comes with a fisted hand, which has got a glove on it. I don't think this is from Marvel Legends or anything. This very much, though, well, it's got molded details on there around the knuckles, so I don't think that's... Other than that, I was going to say it kind of looks like a Spider-Man hand. Alright, here's the blaster. Okay, so there's enough detail on this side that this is not supposed to be painted, I guess. And there's the figure itself. I'll show you a picture of this guy real quick, what he looks like in the show. Oh yeah. Trying to get this head come off. I mean out. Okay. Okay, so what happens is, I guess, and make this into a robot. This kid, when he gets captured by the bad girl, the bad guy's a girl, right there, that's him, with the glasses, and I guess he stops the bad guy from getting into there, and somehow he becomes the Gold Ranger. So here we go. So there's his gun. Maybe it was the orange collar on the side of the gun.
Stop this! He's ruined our plan! Someone get him!
See, the robot doesn't necessarily look like the Power Ranger suit, but it looks a little different.
Phenomenal! The Mantis DNA worked! I'm a Ranger! He played us.
Alright, so there you go. That's how the Ranger stuff happens, and that's what the Ranger actually looks like. So, what do you think? Do you think that the Ranger looks exactly like the figure? Like I said, the figures are good enough that they're collectible just as figures alone, regardless of whether you know anything about them. He has very loose articulation here. This is kind of a good thing. But the only thing that I was going to say was the mask where his goggles are, or the whatever, there's a little bit of an indentation in there. It shouldn't be there. A little nick in there, the plastic. I didn't notice that before I opened it, or I wouldn't have opened it. But I would have found another one. But I think this guy's packing 3 per case, so it shouldn't be too hard to find once they start really hitting all the stores. But it is a little bit different, I think, color-wise, just slightly. But I think they should have done it a little bit more. And there's a hole in his head where this is plugged in and probably glued. So I think the line work should be a little bit better, because it's clearly a line that goes up and around in there. And this, is clearly, you can see this plugged into his mask. And because of that, also, I don't know, I just think this is angled a little bit too differently. But as an action figure, it looks great. The pictures that I saw, this is actually a little bit darker than this silver right here. And same with the silver on his arms. The costume itself on the actual person, it's more of a matte black. It's not glossy, it's not shiny, but it's also not quite this dark, really. So the plastic up here, this rubbery plastic, it could be, I think they should have maybe made it go a little bit lighter. It's not showing up as dark on camera because of all the light shining on it, but in reality, it's a lot darker. And they got the silver, which is important. He does have boot cut, so that's a good thing. Yeah, they got it where it counts. So for the most part, they did a good job on this. The only other thing is this morpher thing that's on him. It should be a little bit more pronounced, I think. You could clearly see that it's his morphing device or whatever, or I don't know. I mean, I guess that's what it's called or what it is, but you can clearly see it's some kind of a device attached to him. But anyway, yeah. So as far as articulation goes, he gets out to a full T, and he's much easier than the Red Ranger, just like all the other ones for some reason. Wow, this thing is really loose, so obviously it'll come off if you want it to, I guess. If you just angle the arms in the right position. He's got butterfly joints. same kind of articulation as everybody else, as the Red Ranger. He's got that now his joint is hindered a little bit by his belt, it looks like, but he can't go as far, maybe just a little bit. But yeah, then he's got the the swivel cuts at the thighs. This one's a little bit easier. This one's a little bit harder. He's got double jointed knees. Let's see if he can kick his own booty. Well, he can kick his own back. There's too much going on in the costume, I guess, for that to happen. Oh wait, I guess technically, but let's see if he goes. He goes out pretty good. Kicks up pretty good. Of course, he's got the. You can go up. You can go down. Foot range in these Power Rangers are pretty good. I mean, it looks like they got broken feet when you move them around. But yeah, his articulation is just like the Red Ranger. Almost as good. His feet are slightly less articulated simply because of the design. Because of all this stuff going around it. Can't really get up all the way around 360 like the Red Ranger. This is not a separate piece. It is a molded into the lower half of his jacket. So, I mean, it's a separate piece, meaning it's glued on. It's glued on at the waist, basically. But the belt doesn't move up and down or anything. So, and of course, then the arms, you got the bicep swivel, you got double jointed elbows. Let's see how good a range you can get. As you saw, there you go. He goes all the way. You can go all the way, like 180, not 90, but 180. That's awesome. Let's see if you can do it with this one too. Probably. Yep, you can do it with this one too. And that's probably if you want to take this off for some reason, it's probably how you're going to get it off. There you go. See, so you can remove it if you want. Let's see what he looks like without it, I guess. You'll see his joints a lot more. But yeah, there we go. So you can get it off if that's your desire. But yeah, as far as the aesthetics, what it looks like, I think he's a great looking figure. I give him a 9.5. Let's go ahead and... Ooh, his head came off real easily. Ugh, man. I don't know what it is with these civilian heads. The civilian heads are always hard to pop on, but the helmeted heads are always easier to get off. There we go. It was easy to get on once I got it straight and had all my maybe I don't know if his hair should be painted anymore or not, but no, maybe not. There's the head sculpt. Whether it actually looks like the actor or not, it definitely looks like a human being. Definitely looks like a real person. Let's show you there's a picture of him, and there's his gun. Kind of looks kind of brownish orangish, maybe. So this looks maybe a little bit too orange, but let's see here. Here's another picture of him. See what he looks like without his head. I mean, without his mask. So it definitely looks like him, but yeah. But anyway, believe it or not, that's the only picture I could really find It's so far away, it's kind of hard to tell. But yeah, it does look like him though. But it kind of looks like him in action figure form. But it does a good job. So the rest of our articulation, he's got swivel wrists. He's got the in and out motion with these. Same with his, whatever this is called, Too Sweet. Too Sweet? That's what they do in WWE. And then here's this punching hand. Same thing. Okay, so let's try his sword out. And put it in this hand first. Wait, what we're going to do is gun first. We know he uses his gun because we saw it at the very first of the episode. And all those pictures that we saw that had him. And there we go. It has a perfect trigger finger and everything. Kind of looks like a phaser from Star Trek. But gun kind of looks a little small, actually. Maybe a little too small. Not really sure. You guys would know better than I would probably if you're a viewer of this TV show. And so let's try his sword real quick before we go. This is very hard plastic, actually. This bottom half is very hard. The whole thing is hard plastic, except for up here. It's wiggles, but I don't know how he holds this or which way it goes. You would assume this way. I'm having a hard time getting it in his hand. There we go. I just need, just cannot do it on camera. Just puts it right in. And I also noticed, it's painted on this side. There's no paint on this side, but it's got some kind of mechanical design, so I guess maybe it's not supposed to be. And here's his effect, which obviously there's a little hole right there. I think you can see it, but it goes right in there. So at least this one you know exactly what to do with it. Exactly how to use it. Now let's see if for some reason maybe you can get that into the hole in here. Looks like it maybe. There you go. That's quite the energy blast right there. Stun gun. So that's the thing you can do if you want to do it. Alright, well that's it. That's all his accessories. He comes with the effect, gun, sword, extra head, 2 hands. So yeah, I stick by my original, what I thought I was going to give this thing in the package. I really I don't get with these hands though. The guns and the stuff is just, I mean, this one's got a much tighter grip than the Red Ranger, but something about it, they're just not, I don't know. It's difficult to get the weapons in their hands a little bit. I mean, you got to work at it a bit. But yeah, I stick by the original decision, 9.5 out of 10 on both of these guys. Maybe a 9 on the Red Ranger, just because he's so much harder to get stuff in his hands, and his articulation isn't anywhere near as simple. I mean, look at this guy. This guy's fluid, easy to move. Well, maybe now he's proving me wrong. Well, there we go. It's a little bit tighter on this side. Look at that. Look at that articulation. That is ridiculous. That is ridiculously awesome. Look at that. That is just cool. I hope you guys stick around for the end of this video because this is probably the best part. It's just, this guy is articulation heaven. That's why I think these Power Rangers are so cool, even though I don't watch it. But there it is there. There's the Gold Ranger, and the next review will be whoever. One from Wave 2 and one from Wave 1. And thanks for watching if you actually got to all this, or even if you fast-forwarded it. I know it was long, but I'll see you guys on the next one. Go Power Rangers or whatever.